Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into something critical, something that's escalating quickly. We're talking about the tension between Israel and Iran and where the U.S. fits into all this. It's complex. We want to unpack why this is more than just another regional issue, why it's, well, a potential global flashpoint.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, or maybe worrying, is the recent shift. For decades, this Israel-Iran thing was more of a, let's say, cold struggle. Lots of shadowboxing, cyber attacks, proxy groups doing the work, harsh words back and forth.
Right, that underground conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now feels different. It's moving into the open. We've had confirmed attacks on Iranian military sites just recently, drone strikes in Syria, and then, very clear threats of retaliation from both sides.
So it's moved past just rhetoric.
Definitely. It's not just saber-rattling. It feels more like a direct action-reaction cycle. Calculated, yes, but incredibly risky.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive, why it matters for you. This isn't abstract geopolitics anymore. It's about real actions, concrete moves that are, frankly, shaking a very fragile balance in the region. So let's look at the main players here. What are they bringing to the table?
Okay, so first, Iran. They've spent years building this extensive network across the region, right?
That's right. Really methodically. Think about groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon. They're not just a militia, they're a political force, heavily funded, heavily trained by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. They act like forward bases.
And it's not just Lebanon.
No, you see similar dynamics with militias in Iraq, various armed groups in Syria. It's all part of projecting power far beyond their own borders. It's a kind of strategic depth through asymmetry.
Okay, so that's one side. Then you have Israel. Technologically very advanced military.
Hugely advanced. And critically, underpinned by this incredibly strong alliance with the United States. We're talking billions in military aid flowing from Washington. And the U.S. was directly involved in funding and developing Israel's Iron Dome system, which is more than just defense, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Its strategic value is immense. Yes, it intercepts rockets, limits civilian casualties, which is vital, but it also reduces the immediate political pressure on Israeli leaders to, escalate instantly. It buys them time, strategic breathing room.
Which leads us straight to the U.S. role. It seems incredibly complicated.
It really is.
On one side, you've got this ironclad, decades-long alliance with Israel,
Right.
Military aid, intelligence sharing, diplomatic backup, the works.
Foundational.
But then domestically in the U.S., there's very little appetite for another big war in the Middle East. People are tired of it after Iraq, Afghanistan.
Absolutely. Public opinion is largely against getting drawn in. It puts U.S. policymakers in a really tough spot, a real balancing act.
So what could force their hand, even if they don't want direct involvement?
Well, you can imagine scenarios. What if Iranian missiles actually hit major Israeli cities? That's a red line for many. Or what if American troops, say in Iraq or Syria, are directly targeted and killed by Iranian-backed militias?
That would change the calculation overnight.
It could pull the U.S. into direct conflict very, very quickly, regardless of their stated preference to stay out.
And this is where the risk of escalation just feels enormous. It seems like one wrong move could set everything off.
It's frighteningly plausible. Think about it. A miscalculated drone strike hits the wrong target. Maybe a nuclear facility gets hit, intentionally or not. Or a retaliation goes wrong and causes significant civilian casualties on either side.
Any one of those could just ignite the whole thing. It really does feel like playing chess with live ammo, as you said earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And the consequences aren't just regional, they ripple outwards, globally. You'd likely see oil prices surge immediately. Major disruptions to global shipping through vital waterways. That puts huge strain on a world economy that's already looking pretty fragile.
So this isn't just over there, it affects everyone.
It really does.
Yeah.
Trade, energy, global stability, it's all interconnected.
And underneath all this strategy, all this military tech and political maneuvering, there's the human cost.
Always.
Yeah.
That's what gets lost sometimes in the analysis.
We're talking about civilians on both sides, people who would suffer terribly if this boils over. Cities damaged, lives lost. It's a devastating prospect.
It is. And it brings us to the really hard questions, doesn't it? As we watch this unfold. Is there still room for diplomacy? Can restraint actually win out over the impulse for retaliation, especially with decades of bad blood?
Can enemies actually step back from the brink?
It's the ultimate question. History shows us, war is often easy to start, deceptively easy. But ending it, finding a lasting peace, that's incredibly hard. And it's always the everyday people, the families who have to live with the aftermath long after the news cycle moves on.
And maybe that's the thought to leave everyone with today. If we lose the space to actually think about this, to reflect beyond the immediate breaking news, well, maybe we lose the chance to influence what comes next. Stay curious, everyone. Stay informed.